Change has come to the Garlean Empire, and we must discuss the implications.
The rumors are true, then? The War of Success?
It is. A new emperor reigns in Garlemald.
Who?
The birth and all too rapid expansion of the Garlean Empire is commonly attributed to the strategic brilliance of Solus Zosgalvis, yet he did not rule alone. Several members of the royal household also distinguished. Nevertheless, it was...
I thought us fortunate when I learned...
Would that the Garlean Empire had died with him.
"'Twas the grandson and his uncle who had the strongest claim.
Indeed, yet claims count for little without the power to assert them. High Legatus Varus ye Galvus.
So young Varus has torn the crown from his uncle's grasp and taken his place at the head of the Empire.
Given the troubled nature of his succession, the new emperor will require time to seal his grip on power. Yet have no doubt but that he shall, for there are none left with strength enough to oppose him.
Since the success of Operation Archon, the remnants of the 14th Legion and the forces occupying Alamigo have done naught but fortify their positions. But you can be sure they'll be ready to march on us again, if their emperor gives the word.
When, not if. They say this Varus was so set upon Eorzean annexation that he spoke up.
Plainly, the new emperor's intent... I propose that we set aside the Cartno dispute for the present, and discuss what measures the Alliance might take to prepare for a resumption of... Moreover, I move that we re-examine the question of how our former allies in Ishgard might be persuaded to retake their place at our side. Could Eorzea but stand as one?
Well, I suppose we should be grateful that they have finally acknowledged the inevitability of Imperial attack. Who knows? They may even do something about it. If only the leaders of Ishgard would follow their example and stop hiding behind their gates, praying for the coming storm to pass them by. But that is a discussion for another time. At present, I am more concerned by the fact that the Alliance's mooted preparations will be made known to the Garleans many... So long as the Ivy eludes...
Minfilia, am I right?
None other. I bid you welcome to Revenant's Toll, and thank you for traveling so far on such short notice.
As if I could ever say no to Urianger.
Moonbreeder is an accomplished Sharlayan scholar, and an authority on aetheryte technologies. She has played an invaluable role in our search for a means to capture Ascian souls.
Charmed, I'm sure.
It's been ages!
Oh, longer, sister!
A joyous reunion indeed.
Well, of course it is. Moon and I are like twin sisters.
Save in appearance and aptitude.
Everyone, if I could have your attention. We have with us an esteemed guest who has come from Sharlayan to assist us. I bid Moonbreeder join us here that she might share with us her... Also, as many of you are already aware, she has been overseeing our research into white auracite, a sample of which she has been good enough to bring with...
Well, I had to come, didn't I? You'd have to be bloody daft to turn your nose up at a chance like this. Where better to conduct my final tests than a land so steep?
'Tis plain the passage of the years hath done little to dampen thy youthful spirits, and nothing at all to reform thy youthful manner.
Sanjay! Where in the hells have you been hiding?
Unhand me.
I come all this way, and that's what you have to say to me. I much preferred when you were pleading with me to drop everything and hurry to your side. What was it you said? None save thee can satisfy this need.
Go on.
Thine artless attempts to misrepresent mine all too innocent... Mine intent, as well thou knowest, was but to impress upon thee the gravity of the circumstance. Lest thou doubt, a day...
You still haven't found it, then?
We have not. We know that Iceheart teleported to an aetheryte not far from the first. Yet even after, we now suspect that the heretics destroyed the second Our allies continue to scour Snowcloak for Iceheart's sanctuary, but we have no guarantee that they will find it. Yet it must be...
I'm sorry, but if the aetheryte's been destroyed, then that's that. Although, you're absolutely sure she used the first aetherite, are you? She didn't just...
One of our own bore witness to her escape. I can say with absolute certainty that Iceheart used the aetherite.
In that case, there might be a way, so long as the ethereal current is still flowing.
Truly? How?
We use the current to recreate the beacon. As you know, aetherites are a bit like lighthouses. We use them to reconstitute our physical forms when crossing the ethereal sea. Without them, we'd lose all sense of direction and our essence would dissipate. However, we don't rely solely on these beacons. There are currents of ether which flow between them. Now, these currents will gradually dwindle away to nothing if an aetherite is destroyed. But, if even a sluggish flow remains, we could theoretically use it to direct a surge of concentrated ether.
Like opening the floodgates to fill a dry riverbed. Though, correct me if I'm wrong, but would we not need a veritable...
In concert, we might manage to channel a sufficient volume, yet that is not my chief concern. To direct the flow of so great a volume of ether with the requisite precision would be...
I barely succeeded in facilitating travel to an unattuned beacon. That which you describe sounds considerably...
And dangerous. Every person who has attempted to teleport in this fashion has died in the process. They, however, did not have wide... I can use it to channel all the ether you can give me into the aetherite. However, white aurosite cannot retain ether for an extended period of time. Just so you know, I'd confidently give this plan better than even odds of success. And if the worst comes to worst, your people won't suffer.
Though it risked the lives of our best and brightest, we have not the time to seek other options. If the ethereal current still flows...
That's the spirit.
You should never have come here, warrior of light. I labor only to forge a lasting peace. A peace you would deny us out of ignorance and blind faith. No matter. If it is our fate to be at odds, then it is mine to strike you down. We whom gods and men have forsaken shall be the instruments of our own deliverance. Partake of my flesh. Fill this vessel with your light. Walk amongst your brothers and sisters once more. Oh, Saint Shiva, still the hatred within our hearts and bless us with eternal grace. Fool. Blind. You, of all people, should understand the suffering. You fight in a war you do not understand. And they are no less ignorant than you, following the creed of their fathers without question, never thinking to ask. Trapped in a delusion of their own creation, and blind to the Warrior of Light, redemption is not... We who walk before may lead those who seek.
And so the vessel withdraws. Nevertheless, La Habrea will be... How unfortunate.
On behalf of the Holy See of Ishgard, allow me to express my deepest. Never before have we been required to contend with a primal. Indeed, there were fears in some quarters that our knights might not be equal to the task. From what we have now learned of these beings, I can say with certainty that we would have lost a great many men had the Scions not intervened.
Then the argument for preemptive action should be self-evident. Perchance now you will reconsider my proposal that Ishgard move against Nautalon.
Ere we first met, a similar proposal was tabled, but the Holy See decreed that we were to observe. All things considered, it was not an unreasonable decision. Since the calamity, 2 vigils have fallen to the Horde, which is why this unprecedented crisis and its resolution may prompt. You who have faced these primals know well the threat they pose. And there is naught like a brush with death to change a man's outlook.
At the very least, this should silence any lingering objections to our arrangement with Revenant's Toll. The Holy See may even feel moved to grant us its formal endorsement.
So far as it is possible.
We should be grateful for any aid you can provide.
As a gesture of good faith, I shall withdraw my previous request. Your people are doubtless needed elsewhere.
That will not. We too have a vested interest in watching Dravan.
I see.
Sir Emmerich, if I may, do you truly believe that Midgardsormr could return?
The heavens are a window unto truth, but those who interpret their movements are not infallible.
But of course, you sought an excuse to compensate us from the first, mindful of what would happen if Ishgard is not wont to aid its neighbors, but that does not...
Choose your next...
Do you know what sort of man becomes Lord Command? One who comes from good stock. I did not. Because I swiftly learnt to tell the difference between words, deeds, and beliefs. You are correct, Master Leveilleur. Ishgard desires to see Revenant's Toll flourish, as it would present a troublesome obstacle to our enemies from the south.
We are so glad to be of use to you.
As we are to you. Ours is a mutually beneficial arrangement, lest we forget. One born... The dragons grow more restless by the day, and the heretics harry us nigh without cease. We have contended with such troubles for centuries, but there are limits. Yet as a pauper is loath to part with his meager possessions, the leaders of Ishgard are not... But, with perseverance on our part, nevertheless, one must take...
Wise words, Sir Emmerich. I shall make a point to remember them. I must apologize for my early...
Not at all. You but... I trust you understand that at times my duties may prevent. On such occasions, my second-in-command will speak for me.
Lucia, at your service. Pray excuse our reticence. We are but wary of speaking too freely, lest our sentiments be made. Know that the Lord Commander and I are of one mind, for the sake of Ishgard, and of Eorzea at large. Those who dwell in the past risk losing sight of their future.
Should aught befall one of our shipments, pray inform Lucia immediately. You may also relay to her any words you might have for me alone. Not being of Ishgardian birth, she owes no allegiance to any noble house, making her as near to incorruptible as one can find in my homeland. Which reminds me, Lord Orchefort, if you would be so kind?
Certainly.
In times such as these, trust is ever in short supply. May the results of our investigation into the heretics' recent attacks...
Sir Emmerich, I cannot thank you enough.
Think nothing of it. Ishgard may be many things.
Did I not tell you to have faith, my friend?
Words cannot well express how glad I am to see you return to us. Needless to say, I am most eager to hear your account of that which occurred in Kurthis, assuming you're ready to speak of it. Excellent. I shall summon the others at once. Iceheart used her own body as a vessel for a primal soul?
Master Louisoir's writings make no mention of such a possibility. Can we be certain this entity was a primal?
As certain as we can be that good King Mogglemog the 12th was a primal, I should think. Both were ostensibly summoned.
Let's not quibble over definitions. Of more concern is the implication that Iceheart retained her will, even after she was possessed. We are...
It can't possibly be that easy, can it? There must be some sort of sacrifice required. Or maybe she's just special?
What qualities this woman possesseth, I know not, but full sure am I that she was groomed for this role. Few are privy to the secrets of summoning, and but a single party standeth to profit from their dissemination.
Well, I wouldn't presume to comment on how the lass came to know about summoning, but I will say that what she summoned was a primal. The readings were the same, or near as damn it. Strange as it all sounds, it's really no different from what you've faced before.
Then mayhap it is time that we re-examined our previous encounters.
Pack your things, Ida. We're going back to Gridania.
Yes, sir.
About Iceheart's final words to you. Hear, feel, think. Hydaelyn speaks to her as well. If Iceheart is blessed with the power of the... Or could it be that it was a revelation granted her by the echo which first set her on this path? Do you think she has knowledge of the origins of the Ishgardian-Dravanian War? It would...
Did not the Lady Iceheart implore thee to seek the Keeper of the Lake?
Midgard Zoma was a king amongst kings who reigned for centuries on end. But he is... It would seem we have yet another reason to stand watch over the Keeper of the Lake. For Iceheart, Shiva, Ascians...
absurd. Truly. No, I do not foresee a problem on that front. Have the Blades watch him in the... You may leave the Sultana to me. Sever one of the East Aldenard trade routes. That ought to keep Lolorito up. Nanamo Ulnamo. For my sake, pray be a good little...
Welcome back, my friend. To think that Flame Marshal Huayu was the Garlean agent. Together with Robon, Eileen lent us much-needed aid at the time of our order's founding. She was particularly passionate when we discussed the subject. Her eyes fairly shone with determination. Whatever else she may have been, I choose to believe that it was her... But now is not the time to... I have an important announcement to make regarding our effort to defeat... My thanks for coming, friends.
By now, I'm sure you're all familiar with white auracite, the miraculous material that'll allow us to capture Asian souls. Back at Snowcloak, we verified its ability to absorb vast amounts of ether. Alas, it leaves something to be desired in the area of...
In addition to auracite's inherent limitation, our foe draweth upon an infinite wells...
Meaning that, if...
'Tis our belief that an Asian soul may be permanently undone.
The only trouble is, we can't say for sure how concentrated the burst needs to be, without knowing how much ether an Asian soul is composed of.
Our sole clue lieth in thy struggle with La Hebrea.
During that encounter, Heidelin bid you forge what she called a Blade of Light, a weapon which took the form of a luminous stream. Based on your description, we believe the blade with which you vanquished your... Admittedly, your victory proved ephemeral, as La Habrea was able to use a crystal of darkness to flee into the space that... The fact remains, however, that be that as it may, it would be unwise to assume that she will do the same when we next encounter...
Quite so, my lady. We must needs find the means to forge our own blade of ether. One to...
That is all well and good, but it seems to me that
Oh, what if we had 2 pieces of white...
Oh, nice try. But it's as I said, the stone won't hold ether for any length of...
And therein lies the rub. Finding a way to create the blade whenever and wherever we choose.
It would seem more...
I'm going to linger a while. And I could do with some help. Urianger, why don't you lend me a hand?
Mine apologies, but Lady Minfilia hath given me sole charge of the premise.
Sole charge, you say? So you're...
While you were afield, word arrived from the Charlian motherland. You will recall that a survey party was dispatched to investigate the incident at the Isle of Vow. According to the report, the Isle has...
Aye, yet the mystery endeth not with the Isle's disappearance. It hath come to light that a number of scholars in various other locales were reported missing at a similar juncture.
What's more, they all had something in common with the head of the students of Baldessian. Every last one of them was researching a phenomenon called dimensional compression, or the rejoining.
All indications suggest Asian involvement, but I sense that a fourth... We must pray that my dear friend Kryl regains consciousness soon. If she bore witness to the Isle of Val's final
Following the calamity, the forces of the 14th Imperial Legion entered. So swiftly did they accomplish this, it was suspected that they had received him.
There is more. We have reason to believe that Waiyu didn't deal exclusively with the 14th. She also... But this higher authority could not have been the Emperor. By consenting to the media project, Solus Zos Galvus showed himself to be more concerned about preventing the spread of primal influence. We believe a number of high-ranking figures within the royal household were against the decision, but that they knew better than to oppose the Emperor openly. Of course, this didn't prevent them from making clandestine...
Alas, these provisions did not prevent Dalamud from falling, and the ensuing chaos changed the face of the realm forever. Yet, to all intents and purposes, the Meteor Project had failed, and the Empire was left to rue its lack of a decisive means to eliminate the primals. Until, that is, it's...
Even before the accursed thing was dug up, it seemed to me the 14th had the might to overwhelm our weakened army.
The Black Wolf was wary of making the denizens of Eorzea desperate, lest more primals emerge to bleed the land. The discovery of the Ultima weapon, however, emboldened him to resume his war of conquest in...
But there was one in Garlemald who believed that Van Belsar's actions were premature. One who stood higher in the Imperial Army's chain of command. In a bid to bring Van Belsar to heel, he used the agent he had planted in Ul'dah prior to the calamity.
A man who outranks Van Belsar, yet opposed the late Emperor's decision to annihilate Eorzea. This could only be the form, so he was Hua Yu's true master.
But one of several in actual fact. We've learned that even as Hua Yu served the Empire's interests, she sold Imperial secrets to a certain... In so doing, she helped to maintain the status quo, thus prolonging the conflict. Considering who stands to profit from war.
7 hells! You...
Triple, if you consider her services to Van Belsar and the new
As neatly as these pieces seem to fit, by whose will was the Marshal feeding intelligence to the heretics? And could it be that another hand is at work here?
Not only have I lost a trusted friend, now I must interrogate...
Not a pleasant task, I grant you, but a necessary one. Unless we weed out the ivy, root, stalk and stem, it will simply grow back.
I know that full well. Those closest to Hua Yu have already been detained.
General, pray keep in mind that there may be...
All will be treated fairly.
You have ever been a friend of truth, General. I hope the unpleasant task of weeding out falsehood will not detain you too long. Though it be for the sake of Eorzea, doubting one's comrades is poison to the soul. And with that...
All these years... How could you, Hua Yu? Those cankers who take from this land and give naught in return, who use their power to disempower and grow fat while the people starve. I know you can hear me, monitorous scum! Your crimes will not go unpunished! They have purged this land of your sickness!
I shall have no further need of you this day. Your Grace. I fear that not even my name...
Has the situation...
Ever since he proposed the Cartiner Reclamation Bill, Teleji, the Monitorists were ever united in their pursuit of profit, but the man's... Yet now is not the time.
If this bickering is a threat to law and order, might you not have grounds to dissolve the Syndicate?
Would that the solution were so simple, Admiral. Alas, my moving to dissolve the Syndicate is certain to spark outrage among the influential. This would serve to exacerbate the current unrest. Be they rich or poor, natives or refugees, all who reside in Ul'dah. If I am to perform my duty, I must needs tread warily. It would not... Were Lord Lolorito here, he would doubtless say that I have my head in the clouds.
A ruler is required to take a wide view. Try as we might to cater to all needs, some will inevitably be overlooked. As such, there shall ever be citizens who feel aggrieved. It cannot be helped. But as you have informed us, the Monitorists take no view but their own, in the absence of a common cause.
and the presence of a Garlean agent within the Immortal, even accounting for Uldar's historic reliance upon mercenaries, such a grief.
Eorzea can ill afford for the immortal flames to be dampened now. Ere long, the Garlean, yet for this to happen, our nations must be whole.
The true wealth of Uldar lies in the health, happiness, and hopes of her citizens. Alas, the citizens shall... The monetarists claim to represent the best interests of the people, but in sooth they desire only to manipulate. For the government to serve the people, it must be for Uldar to move forward, it is not only the Syndicate that must be dissolved.
Nay.
My friends, it was for no other... When I make my declaration... As the last monarch in the line of Ul, I make... Help Roban to preserve order and protect the people. Forsake them, and you forsake...
Your Grace...
There is no other way. When the time is ripe, the nation shall become a true republic. Both royalists and Uldar will no longer belong to kings or queens or merchant princes. Roban, forgive me for casting aside all that you have toiled for in my name. Beyond this gesture,